Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about V-cards that don't suck. These are V-cards that I think look cool and V-cards that you should appreciate. You know, everyone's always trying to lose their V-card, but I gotta say, these are worth keeping. So let's just get into it. The first V-card that I have is this Vaporeon. It's all snuggled up, it's all curled up in the water. I like this artwork. Everybody that sees this artwork, I think, likes this. This is part of a set. This is part of the Evolution set, and it's really good. Really like this artwork. However, it's not my favorite Evolution artwork of this particular set. Because my favorite artwork of this particular set is actually this beautiful Flareon. I really like this. It's just snuggled up by the fire. It's nice, it's warm, it's cool, but honestly, there's no need to even compare these artworks because at the end of the day, all of them look great, and I wouldn't want just one, you know? You gotta catch them all. So when I look at these cards, I want to get the entire set. And speaking of the entire set, here's another V artwork that doesn't suck. That's right, we're talking about the Jolteon. I like this Jolteon. It doesn't get a lot of love. It's not my favorite Jolteon artwork. There are some really cool ones out there. This is not my particular favorite, but I do really like the colors. I like the artwork. I like the motion, and he's like running up a building. It's just cool. It's action packed. It's kinetic, and it's very eye catching. It's not my favorite artwork of the set, but very eye catching. And speaking of evolutions, let's talk about this Umbreon. This is an Umbreon from Evolving Skies. It's not the Umbreon from Evolving Skies, but it's absolutely beautiful. I am a sucker for dark and psychic Pokemon, and when there's one card with like a moon in the background and one of those types of Pokemon in the foreground, it just really does it for me. But I will be honest, I would be lying to you if I said that I don't think this card is a little overhyped. I'm surprised at how expensive it is, but that being said, it is a beautiful card. It's like a Pokemon card with a moon in the background, and again, that just, for some reason, I love that so much. So yeah, I gotta throw that in there. The Umbreon V, it's awesome, but it's definitely one of the more expensive cards on the list. And another expensive card on the list, and one of the only, seemingly only card that people really like from Battle Styles, is the Tyranitar V. That is the sleepy boy that has just finished his meal. He's laying under the tree, and it's a cool Pokemon. It's a cool artwork, but for this price point of like almost like $140, give or take, I'm kind of surprised that it's that expensive, but at least Battle Styles has something going for it. I'm sorry, no disrespect, there are other cards in there, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, shocked at the price. And let's just keep talking about evolutions, okay? Let's talk about the Sylveon. This Sylveon is really nice. It is really nice. It's got the trainer up close. You get a nice look at the Sylveon. I like the color scheme. And it just feels like, as far as Sylveon artworks go, I don't know all of them. I'm sure there's a lot of beautiful ones. But as far as artworks go for Sylveon, I'm a big sucker for this one because I like the ones where the trainer is in the card. Not all the time. There's cool ones without it. But this one, I definitely do think that the trainer being in the card is, you know, it pays off. It shows a nice relationship with them, and I'm not a huge fan of Sylveon, not my favorite evolution, but I know a lot of people love Sylveon, and it is a psychic Pokemon, so I do kind of like that. Next up, we have Crown Zenith. Now, we have the legendary dogs from Crown Zenith. These three dogs are absolutely beautiful. I'll throw them on screen right now. And I'm curious, leave in the comments which one of these is your favorite. I know which one's my favorite, and it's very hard to pick. And it used to be a different one, actually, and now it's switched. So, you know, it could go back and forth, but I know which one's my favorite right now. But I am curious to hear which one of these cards is your favorite, because it's dang hard to pick. It is very hard to pick on this. Next up, I got this Starmie V. Everybody loves this Starmie V because it's got Misty, one of the OG trainers. It's this nice overhead shot where they're laying in the pool, they're hanging out. They got like a tray of lemonade hanging out next to them. It's a beautiful card. Absolutely beautiful card. I love this artwork, and I'm glad to see that this card is, you know, it's holding its own as far as value goes. It's getting up there in price, and quite frankly, I really like this card, and I wanted to add it to my collection previously. Now, I got other things I want to add to my collection. Before this, I have sets I'm trying to complete, like vintage Japanese sets I want to complete first. but I will say that as far as V cards go, this has definitely been on my radar for probably the longest one on this list, possibly the longest on this list. I've been looking at this card for a while. Next up, I have this Rayquaza V. This card is awesome. This card rocks. I think it looks so cool. I love the perspective. I love how they look like they're up in the sky. I love the colors. I love the sun flare just coming out from the spine of the Rayquaza. Overall, I think it's great. We even get a bonus little Pokemon in the foreground, and we get a trainer, and I love it. I love the shape of Rayquaza, how he's kind of spiraled around, and it brings your eye into the image. Again, we're seeing that golden spiral Fibonacci sequence that I've mentioned in previous videos, and I think it looks great. I think it looks really cool. Next up, I have this Pikachu from VMAX Climax. Now, there's not much to say about this card because this card just screams Pokemon. I mean, when I close my eyes and I think Pokemon, I think, Ash, Pikachu, and that is what this card is. This card is the epitome of Pokemon. Maybe it's not Ash, maybe it's some guy called Red. I don't know what the licensing or what happened. I don't know what happened. Try and find the first season of Pokemon on Netflix. You probably won't be able to, or an Amazon Prime Video. I don't know what can someone explain that to me in the comments? What happened? Anyway, whatever. This is a Pikachu card from VMAX Climax. I think it looks great. There's 3 Pikachu cards that I can think of that have Ash and Pikachu in them, and one of them I own, but out of the 3, this is the least expensive. So if you like this card, it's relatively affordable compared to other cards with a similar concept. Next up, this is one of, if not my favorite cards on the list, and I just absolutely love this because I'm a big horror fan, and I love seeing this card with the shadow watching TV and the trainer shocked, and it's just great. It's just great. I absolutely love it. It's not crazy expensive yet. We'll see if it takes off throughout 2025, and we'll see how that goes, but I gotta say, this card, I really, really do like it. And speaking of psychic Pokemon, arguably the most famous psychic Pokemon, we're talking about Mewtwo. This Mewtwo V is super inexpensive. You can get it for like 55 cents plus $1.50 shipping is what it says on TCG Player, and it's a nice looking card. I like the art. It stood out to me. I like the pose. I like the attack going right there. It looks cool. It's colorful. We got a little bit of greens in the background and some green highlighting his tail a little bit. It's a nice card. I really like it, and it's dirt cheap. So it just doesn't have that it factor. Nobody wants it for some reason. Let me know your thoughts. Is this like super lame, or is this like, yeah, it looks cool? I don't know. Next up, from Fusion Strike, which is absolutely taking off, and I'm honestly not surprised because Mew and Gengar are so popular, and there's cool cards in the set. Not surprised that Fusion Strike is taking off, but Fusion Strike, this Mew, I like this Mew V. Next up, possibly the cheapest card on the list. Again, we have another dirt cheap one, just like the Mewtwo. This Machamp V it's so inexpensive. It's from V-Star Universe, which is an awesome set. And I really like the artwork. I like the fists coming towards the camera. I like the perspective. I like the colors. I like the design and the artwork. I like the blur of the hand. It just, overall, I really like this card. This is a very cool Machamp card in my opinion. And it's one of those cards that just falls to the wayside because there's so much other stuff. And I guess people just I really like this artwork. I don't know why. It's completely cheap. It says near mint hollow foil Japanese on TCG Player right now. It says 30 cents with $1.29 shipping. It's like $1.59 for this card. So that seems just, like nobody likes this card for some reason. You know it. You love it. That's right. On the list, of course, I got to put the Lugia V. This card can be found in either Silver Tempest in English or Paradigm Trigger in Japanese, and if you want to get it in the Japanese version, it's going to cost you around $350, and that is pretty expensive, but I also do think that this is a very nice card. It's a very nice artwork. I like it. It's up there for me in my personal taste. I like the dark aspect of it. I like how it looks like it's a stormy night, and then there's a guy down there, and it looks like he's on a ship or a balcony or in a car or some kind of thing where he's just looking up, and he's almost like black and white. It's a very interesting color scheme. It's borderline monochromatic, but we do get a little bit of greens and blues, some purples. I really like this card, and I think that $350 is very expensive, and I don't think I would pay that much for it right now in my collecting investing career, but I do think that it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Also from Paradigm Trigger, I have this Lugia. This is another Lugia where he looks like he's flying through a storm, and there's a little bit of this like rainbow like streak going through it. I don't know if that's just in the photo or if you can actually see that in the actual card. But if you can see that in the actual card, that is beautiful. I love this kind of look, the splash, the motion of the water, the expression on Lugia's face, the fact that it looks like it's a stormy day, stormy sea or something. I like this card, and it stands out to me, and it's very cheap. It's very cheap. As far as artworks go, it's like $2 for a near mint before shipping. So I do think that, again, that's the Japanese version, but I do think for $2, really cool card. Next up, I have this Leafeon from Evolving Skies. I really love the concept here, the Leafeon just laying in a nice, beautiful, colorful fall bed of leaves. I think it looks great. It's a nice card. And yeah, I don't have too much to say. This is just another nice evolution artwork. Next up, I have this Kingler from Brilliant Stars. Now, I know that this is probably not going to be a lot of people's favorite card. It's one of the more boring cards on the list, and it might be the cheapest card on the list because this is, on TCG Player says before shipping it says 25 cents. So this card does not seem, and that's for the English cards, and half the time the English cards are more expensive, but in this case, my goodness, 25 cents. I would be shocked if the Japanese was cheaper in this case, but yeah, I mean, it's a good looking card. I like it. I like the motion of it, and I feel like you don't see too many cool Kingler cards, so just wanted to throw this on the list. Next up, we got this Ho-Oh from Silver Tempest. I actually really like this artwork. The colors, the way it pops, the way he's flying towards the camera. I love the motion of it. I love the colors. It really hits. It really punches, and it's really cheap on TCG Player right now. It says 49 cents. That seems very, very inexpensive, very reasonable, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people enjoy this card. Next up, I have this Glaceon V. If you're a fan of Glaceon, I feel like you'll probably enjoy this card. It's a simple card. It's a quiet card. It's a card where Glaceon is just laying on a bench looking at this nice little group of flowers protruding through the melted snow, and it's nice, it's peaceful, and it's a good-looking card. But I will say it is on the higher end as far as price goes. This one is talking about like $119 lightly played on TCG Player right now. So definitely on the pricier end of things, but it is a nice looking card. Next up is this Lost Origin Giratina. Everybody knows this card, probably needs no introduction. One of the most expensive cards on this list. TCG Player right now has this card moderately played, mind you, for $351.28, which is... That's but I understand why. The colors are beautiful. There's a lot of detail in the background. I get why a lot of people are chasing this card. It's a very cool looking card, and yeah, I had to throw this V on the list because it's one of the most popular V cards on the market. And next up, I have this Galarian Zapdos from VMAX Climax. It looks cool. It looks awesome. I love the motion of the Zapdos, the speed, the angle of the shot, the way that we have the trainer next to it, and it just really looks good. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of motion, and it's just eye-catching. Very, very eye-catching. And it's not expensive. This card says moderately played holo foil is $2.99 on TCG Player right now, so that's pretty cool. And another bird we could talk about is the Galarian Moltres. This card is looking pretty cool. I like the fact that there's a trainer in it. I do like the colors of it. It's not the most colorful thing. I do think the blacks do take up a lot of the image, but the black is part of the Pokemon's color, so what are you going to do? You know what I mean? I like the perspective, though, that over-the-shoulder shot shooting down and looking at the trainer. Overall, I think it's a cool-looking card. I personally prefer the Galarian Zapdos over this card, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. What's your preference? And if you're curious for a near mint holofoil on TCG Player right now, it's $9.92. Next up, we have this Espeon from Evolving Skies. This artwork is very interesting. It's kind of growing on me a little bit as I've seen it a little bit longer. I've sat with it for a little bit longer. It's starting to grow on me. I definitely like the design, how he's sitting in the chair and carrying all this stuff, moving it all around. It's interesting, and the unique artwork, it almost looks, I want to say like colored pencil or something like that, but looks really cool, looks really awesome, and I'm becoming more and more of a fan the longer I look at it. So, yeah, this Espeon V, I just felt like I should put it on the list, but I should say it's from Evolving Skies, and it's going to cost you for a lightly played holofoil. TCG Player right now says $199. So, you know. Next up, we have another super expensive V card from the list, and this is a $214 near mint on TCG Player right now card. This is the Dragonite V from Evolving Skies. I do like this card. I do think it looks cool. There's a lot of other Pokemon in it. It's a cool angle. He's like sleeping, kind of like taking a nap, hanging out in the sky, doing a little backstroke action, flying in the sky up high. It's a cool artwork. Is it a $214 artwork? Not in my opinion. If I were to just look at this and guess, I would have guessed like $45 or something, but it's going for like $214. And honestly, I just think that that is because it's from Evolving Skies. I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. Next up, I have this Charizard V from Brilliant Stars. It's beautiful. I love it. The fact that he's fighting Venusaur, the motion blur on the vines from Venusaur, the mountains in the background, the angle of it just kind of shooting under his wing. It's framed all so perfectly. It all fits together so perfectly, and I just think it looks really, really cool. A lot of people like this card. A lot of people talk about this card, and I think it looks incredible, and I'm not surprised why people love it so much. It looks awesome. And then we have another promo card, and this is the Charizard V, where it's taking place after the battle with Venusaur. They're laying there, they're hanging out. I think it's fun to see the fact that there's a set where there's, the Charizard battling and then the Charizard after. I like that. Same with the Mewtwo and the Charizard from V-Star Universe. Those kind of set cards that link up together. I do like those at certain times. Not always. Sometimes I think they're a little gimmicky, but overall, in this circumstance, I really like this Charizard V set, so I had to throw this promo on the list. And this one's a lot cheaper than the other one. This one, the Aftermath of the Battle, says near mint holofoil is $17.46 right now on TCG Player. So for $17, that's pretty good. Next up, I have this Celebi V from Fusion Strike. I really like this card. I really like the colors. These, like, the sparkle and this kind of, it has this ethereal look to it. Next up, I have this Arceus V from Brilliant Stars. Now, I don't know Arceus too much, but I know he's like this very epic figure in Pokemon, and I think that this card goes to show that. He's very epic, godlike, absolutely massive, larger than life, and a lightly played holofoil of this card is currently sitting on TCG Player for $38.51. And another Arceus V card that I have is this promo. This is a more simple Arceus card. It's not as colorful. It doesn't seem as epic, but I just like the simplicity of it. I like the Pokemon looking up at the Arceus. It gives you this kind of tranquil vibe, this tranquil feeling, and I like the sun piercing through the clouds at the top there. I like the mountain in the background. That looks really awesome, and it gives a good idea of the scale and scope of this Pokemon and how larger than life it is. So it's cool, and this card is actually a lightly played version is going for $6 on TCG Player right now, so that is pretty good. And last but certainly not least, we have the Aerodactyl V from Lost Origin, and this is one of my favorite card arts on this entire list. And if you ask me, I feel like this Aerodactyl V walked so the Zapdos in 151 could run. I'm not the only person that really likes this card. This card is currently sitting for $136.99 on TCG Player, and I get it. I mean, it's from Lost Origin, which I think is going to age very well. I think it's a good set. But also, it's a nice looking card. It's one of the nicer looking cards in my opinion that's on this list. But those are some V cards that I really like. So yeah, that's the end of the video. If you made it to the end, consider liking and subscribing. Please leave a comment. Let me know what V cards you really like that I missed. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.